I feel a lot of people probably not even realizing that they're going through a phases called soul alchemy or dark night of the soul, and they do not know about this process. They think it's just a simple breakdown or emotional breakdown in life, but actually it serves a higher purpose than you think it would. So the soul alchemy can be referred as a period in your life where you started to feel like your life is crumbled and you're unclear about your life direction, and all the emotions come to surface that becomes overwhelming, that you don't know what to do at this stage of life. Many people believe that soul awakening is a joyful, delightful journey, but however, the truth is far more from that. It's not as simple as if one day you wake up and everything just started to fall into places and life becomes smooth and untroubled. The truth is, soul awakening usually begins with a complete breakdown. In psychology, it has a name for it, individuation. However, in the spiritual traditions, it has a more versatile name, the dark night of the soul. It might sound like a crisis, but however, in its essence, it's a prelude for transformation. During this phase, you'll experience profound inner turmoil. Your old self started to crumble. However, the new self has not come to surface yet. If you're going through this phase, remember this: chaos is not a failure. It's a signal of rebirth. If we're talking about soul alchemy, soul transformation, the first thing we want to introduce is chaos. Because we want to know the importance of chaos is playing, like the crucial role is playing in soul alchemy or soul transformation. To understand this process, we can use two metaphors: alchemy and the collapse of a dam. In ancient time, when we are purifying metal to gold, the process of that is the alchemist will throw the metal into the blazing fire and burning away all the impurities until it left only the purest materials. This process is almost like a tournament. The metal is break down, reshaped, and refined in fire until it emerges as gold. Soul growth works the same way. Each of us, we all carry impurities, our outdated beliefs, our old belief system, rigid thought patterns, unhealed wounds. This forms our old self. When soul awakens, these impurities can no longer coexist with our new self, your new consciousness, and will create an intense internal conflict. So in other words, chaos is more like the fire in this process, and it's burning away what no longer serves you. Now let's imagine a dam deep inside of your heart. This dam holds back all the emotions, desires you don't want to face. In pursuit of peace, you suppressed anger, sorrow, fear, longing, and pain behind this dam, trying to control your inner world through reason. This dam is what we would refer it as logic and sense. But over time, cracks appear in the dam. One day it bursts everything you've suppressed before. Rage, sorrow, confusion, desires comes flooding into your life. This uncontrollable flood is what we call a dark night of the soul. The essence of chaos is the collapse of your old belief system, making new way for new self-awareness to take root. And in certain level, the alchemy fire and the damp, like the flood from the damp, are the same transformative process, because rebirth must pass through a phase of internal chaos and collapse to be able to make way for a new self-awareness and conscious to arrive. In Dark Night of the Soul, you'll experience profound inner conflict. You may feel torn, like on one hand you crave for safety and stability of your old life, your old self. On the other hand, you long for change, freedom, and new experiences. This conflict is the very force driving soul growth. Only by dismantling outdated belief system can you create space for new possibilities. So how to handle the emotional flood during chaos, like when your dam bursts and your emotions started to rise to surface, or you've been thrown into a blazing fire. What you should do at this moment? The answer is certainly not suppression. Instead, learn to listen and embrace these emotions, like anger. Anger tells you that your boundary has been crossed, and it's a signal to set new limits and asserts your need. Desires is indicate your need for freedom, for new experiences. Don't reject your desires because they work as a lighthouse. They point towards unexplored aspect of yourself. And pain signals unresolved trauma. It reminds you that this is a time for you to find healing and to recognize your wounds. All these emotions are the raw materials of your soul transformations. So how do we navigate through this chaos? There are some essential steps we can follow. First of all is, of course, stop resisting. You have to embrace all your emotions. The most common reaction to chaos is to fight it, because we all trying to go back to the normal stage of our old self. But true peace doesn't come from suppressing emotions. Instead, it comes from embracing them. So during this stage, you have to constantly tell yourself that this is my growth process and I choose to journey through it. When you stop resisting, something remarkable would happen. Your inner conflict will begin to subside. And secondly is to listen to your emotions and desires. Each of these emotions, feelings, desires tells you something about yourself. Instead of dismissing your irrational thoughts and desires, you should ask yourself, what is the anger is telling you? What is your desire is telling you? Where is your pain originated? And how can you heal it? By face these emotions directly, they cease to become an obstacle of your life and becomes the fuel of your transformation. And thirdly is the most importantly is to transform emotional energies into growth. This is the final step of soul alchemy, but it's very crucial and important, because in soul alchemy it's not just about burning away impurities. The final step is about refining and purifying. So it's the same goal for soul growth. New self-awareness doesn't arise from nowhere. It distills from the chaos. Emotions and desires are not your enemies. They are your raw materials to support you to finish your soul transformation. But once you learn to refine them, you build your inner order and welcome a more authentic self. So this is a saying that I really like. From the ashes of the old self, a new consciousness emerges. For example, if we think about anger, like a constant anger in a relationship, what does that tell you? If you're in a relationship and you're constantly feel angry in this relationship, believing like the other person is disrespect you, the anger actually highlights a crossed boundaries. Instead of suppressing it, you should channel it through actions, into action. You should channel it into actions. Redefine your relationship terms. And when you do that, anger transforms from destructive forces into personal empowerment. So when we talk about new self, new consciousness, new awareness, what is this new self means? So the new self is actually a new integrated version of you. Someone who embraces their shadows, acknowledge their pain and wounds, and transform those emotional energies into wisdom and creativity. So the new self is not about returning to normal. It's about creating a new order. Just as the alchemist refines gold, you emerges from the soul fires as a renewed being. In my mind, the transformation requires turning chaos into actions. Because when your emotions and your desires are long held back, and finally they've been acknowledged, being seen and refined, they become the fuel of your transformation and your soul growth. This is the essence of soul alchemy, the destruction of the old self to birth the new. So in this journey, you're not losing yourself. You're simply crafting a more authentic version of who you are. The alchemy of the soul is all about finding light in the darkest of night. You're not being destroyed, you're being reborn. So you may fear of the fire, the flame, or the chaos because you don't know who you will become. But the fire doesn't destroy you, it refines you. The new self doesn't emerge by chance, but through chaos, breakdown, and transformation. So in other words, your confusion is actually your starting point, and your pain is your awakening. The essence of our life is a continuous cycle of breaking down and rebuilding. Time and again, we use our understanding and experiences to construct fortresses of self-awareness, shaping how we perceive the world. But time inevitably dismantles these fortresses. Every chaotic phase in life marks a revolution of the soul, tearing down outdated beliefs and shattering the structures that keeps us stagnant. You may wonder, why can't I achieve my complete self once and for all? The truth is that completeness is never a final destination. It is an endless process of inner alchemy. An alchemist repeatedly casting metals into flames over and over again to purify it into gold. We also must navigate chaos over and over again to reshape ourselves. Each time the old self crumbles, it brings forth a higher level of awareness, and this is the very essence of soul alchemy. Our entire life are a journey of soul alchemy. When you embrace the fire and traverse the chaos, you'll find yourself reborn, time and time, becoming ever more true to who you really are. There's a saying goes, no one steps into the same river twice, for the river has changed, and so have you. Our life flows much like a river, ever changing, ever moving, and constantly breaking old patterns. But the most intense transformation occur when our inner universe collapses. We often mistake chaos for distraction, yet chaos is in fact the beginning of creation. If you imagine your soul as a small cosmos, every chaotic period is akin to a cosmic explosion, stars collapsing, old patterns crumbling, leaving you in darkness and void. But in that darkness, new galaxies are forming. The dark night of your soul is your soul's big bang, and alchemy is the process of using the fragments of those stars to rebuild your inner universe. Every breakdown is a gateway to higher creation. The journey of the soul is a perpetual cycle of departure and return. You set out from ignorance, traverse through chaos and collapse, and finally return to a more complete version of yourself. Yet even then, the alchemy of the soul never ceased. We're always in motion, leaving behind old selves and birthing new awareness. We reshape and rediscover ourselves over and over again. And of course, life holds no final answer, only an endless journey of alchemical transformation. And you, as the traveler, are also the creator of this journey. And I think, most importantly, the flame does not destroy you. The darkness is also not the end. In chaos, light is always gestating. It's the threshold of rebirth. Fear is the ash, desire is the spark. After every shattering, strength blossoms. You will hold the golden scrolls of your own becoming. So do not dread the night, and do not fear the long path. Within the fire, your new self is burning to life, and you will arrive. Thank you so much for watching. That's everything today. I like to share about soul alchemy. If you're experiencing this kind of burst of emotions or this journey, feel free to leave your story in the comment below. I love to hear. And also today I changed a little bit of the style of how I recorded my story. If you like this new style, please let me know. Or if you prefer the old one, also let me know. I like to hear your voice. So thank you so much, and until next time, stay empowered and strong. I'll see you in my next video.